Hello everyone, and in this video I want to look at a really important skill for students to master at GCSE and is absolutely essential for A-level. And that skill is solving simultaneous equations where one of them is a quadratic. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm going to go through this question 3m here, where we have 3x² minus xy plus y² equals 36. And then the other equation is x minus 2y is equal to 10. Now, the first common misconception that students make when they're beginning to learn this technique is that students make the mistake of thinking that you can solve these by elimination. Now, when we've got one of the terms as having a squared in, okay, we have to use the method called substitution. So you cannot use elimination like you can when they're both equations that are like this with no squares in, okay? So we've got to use substitution. Now, it doesn't really matter whether we make x the subject or y the subject, but what we're going to do is we're going to substitute the easier equation into the more complicated one, okay? And I'm going to, in this particular equation, rearrange this to make x the subject by adding 2y to both sides. So I've added 2y to both sides there, so you can see what I've done. Add 2y. And when I add 2y to both sides, I now get the equation x is equal to 10 plus 2y. Okay, so x is equal to 10 plus 2y. And I could just as easily have made y the subject. It would not change the final result. So I'm now going to substitute this into the quadratic equation. So we've got 3x² minus x times by y. And then we've got plus y² is equal to 36. So let's sub that in now. So we're going to have 3 times by our x, which is going to be, I'll write it as 2y add 10 squared, minus 2y add 10 times by y, plus y² is equal to 36. Okay, so I'm now going to expand this bracket. So I've got 3 and I've got 4y² plus 20y plus another 20y plus 100, like so. And then I have got minus 2y times y is minus 2y². And then minus 10 times y is minus 10y. Plus y² equals 36. Okay, now I'm going to expand this bracket. So 3 times 4 is 12y². 3 times 20 is plus, it's going to be, we're going to have, no, let's have a look. So we're going to go 3 times y are 20. It's going to give us 60y. So we're going to have 60y there, plus another 60y, plus 300. Minus 2y² minus 10y plus y² equals 36. Okay, so now it's time to collect like terms, okay? So let's gather all of these terms together. We've got 12y² and we have got minus 2y² and we've got plus y². So that is going to be 11y² because we've got 12, take away 2 is going to be 10, add 1 is 11. Okay, then we are going to have plus 120y there, minus 10y there, so which is going to be 11y² plus 110y when we collect like terms. And then finally, the only ones we haven't dealt with is the 336. So it's going to be 300, take away 36 is plus 264 equals 0. So we've dealt with those now. So we've just collected all of the like terms. Now, let's hope everything can divide by a factor of 11 here. So 264 divided by 11, it does go in, that's nice. So we're now dividing every term by 11 in order to get a more straightforward quadratic that's easier for us to deal with, okay? Because if you're doing Edexcel GCSE, this could potentially come up on a non-calculator paper. So now we've substituted one of the equations in. We've boiled the whole thing down to a nice straightforward equation. So we're going to factorize that in the normal way by asking what two numbers times together to make positive 24 and add together to make the 10 in the middle. Okay, so that is going to be 6 and 4. So we're going to split that into y add 6 and y add 4 is equal to 0. So therefore y is equal to -6 and y is equal to -4. Now that's two of our solutions. Now what we've got here is we've got some kind of a quadratic-y kind of curve and we've got a line, okay? So there are, in this particular case, 2 points of intersection between our quadratic curve and our line. And we've just found the y-coordinate of both of them. So we found that the y-coordinate of one of them is -4 and the y-coordinate of the other point of intersection is -6. So that means that we now need to find the corresponding matching x coordinate. So if we go back to our equation, our x is equal to 10 plus 2y, and we can now sub in the -6 and the 4, which is going to give us that x is equal to 10 plus 2 times -4, which is going to be 10 take away 8, so that's going to be 2. So when y is -4, x is 2. And then the last one is we're going to have x is equal to 10 plus 2 times by -6 this time. So that is going to be 10 take away 12, which is going to be -2. So when y is -6, x is -2. And that's our solution to the question. The points of intersections are 2, -4, and -2, -6, which is our final answer. Okay, I hope that you found that helpful. Super important technique for solving equations where one of them is a quadratic. I'll see you in the next video.